To the NBA Carousel, brought to you by Sideline Sports Network in conjunction with Fantasy and Flavors. This week's show is full of trade drama, injuries, and MVP hopes, and of course, COVID affecting the NBA. Unfortunately, it's my team this week that's affected by COVID. Our game against the Detroit Pistons tonight has been postponed, which kills some of our vibes coming off of a win last night against Charlotte. DeMar had a kind of an off game last night, but our young core really pulled up all the reins that we need and help in our young core with Murray, Johnson, and White performed well. Hopefully, we get to see them play on Wednesday or Saturday. But we're going to go ahead and move on to the former champs, the LA Lakers. Hi, Gerald.
Former champs, they're still the champs. What are you talking about?
Defending champs, excuse me.
There you go. All right, fair enough. Something I don't know.
Right. Okay, so you guys had a really big scare this week.
Yes, we did. It's been something that's been lingering for a while.
Correct.
That it's not an Achilles right on the Achilles. It's the the tissue and things that are right around, centering around the Achilles for Anthony Davis. Anthony Davis has had these issues now for, I think, close to 2 weeks off and on. He actually had to miss some games last week, too, in fact, because of the issue, but he thought he was a lot better. Scored 35 points in the game prior to Denver, and in Denver, basically was trying to make a move as the Lakers were in the middle of incurring a run by Denver. It looked like the Lakers were still very competitive and much in the game, but unfortunately, as he was making a move by Nikola Jokic, the foot just kind of gave out, and you had that kind of hold your breath moment you thought that he might have actually torn it. I mean, he said in recent days where he's had a lot of treatment on it. He's had a lot of doctors speak on it, that they says that they can't hurt the Achilles itself. Mm-hmm. Well, we kind of thought that might have been wrong because we thought that might have been all she wrote for him, and that's our season down in the toilet. But the MRI that he took earlier today, as we're recording this, proved out to be negative for any tears. So we're all breathing a sigh of relief in Lakerland.
Indeed, yes.
Yes, but there's no sustainable damage. There was swelling around the foot, which I know is going to be of concern. He is out against Minnesota at the very least. I would recommend another at least week or two of rest personally, and say, you know what, if Utah wants the Western Conference, we'll just go ahead and be second. But at this point, you want his health first, because again, this goes back to something I've talked about previously. If the Lakers are at full health and playing defense the way that I know and everybody else has seen out there, in fact, they've seen it against the last time they played Denver. I mean, there's no team that can match up to it as far as on that end. But then again, it all predicates itself on Anthony Davis being healthy. If he's not, then things change.
Oh, it was crisis land online this morning. Everybody was talking about throwing you guys into the Drummond mix trade, the trade drama. What were you guys going to do without a big man?
I would still look into Drummond. I was thinking about that today. Yes, because of the fact that Gasol is not getting it done, and we are giving up way too many points in the paint, and I would love to see something of that nature redicate itself, either with an individual that can rebound, such as Andre Drummond can, or somebody that can be a little bit more intimidating inside, because Marc Gasol, his game has gone and went, for the most part.
Did he have a break where he wasn't playing at all?
Who, Gasol?
Yeah.
No, he's played in pretty much every game. I don't think he's got, if he sat out a game, it's maybe just one or two, but for the most part, he's played every game. Minimal minutes, usually. Well, in this case, he did have to play more minutes because Anthony Davis was hurt, but for the most part, he is only playing about 15 to 20 minutes a game, and he is averaging less than 3 points a game right now currently, and even though he's still an excellent passer from the post, or even out on the at the 3-point line, where they sometimes have them during the running sets, it's a disappointment to see that he can't bring much else. I mean, his mobility is just not there, and I know he wasn't the biggest and the most mobile athlete in the first place, and the fact that he's 35, carrying so much weight, and
Right.
injuries have now taken its toll. And I know this was a concern for fellow Lakers fans and myself, that had said that we saw his numbers in the bubble were atrocious.
Right.
And a lot of people were going ahead and passing that off as, oh, it's no problem. It's not a big deal. He'll be back to normal. It's just the bubble. No, it wasn't the bubble. It's him.
Agreed.
Yeah.
And you guys have the Timberwolves next tomorrow, and then on Thursday you have Brooklyn. Now, Timberwolves easily winnable game. Brooklyn, we'll see, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And this is something that people were saying, oh, yes, it's a finals matchup. It's a potential finals matchup. Yes, it is a potential finals matchup, but you really can't gauge at this time. It's still too early to tell. I mean, we're not even halfway through the season. You can't even really tell. As it's a different ball game in the playoffs. I mean,
right, absolutely.
Teams perform absolutely differently. I mean, you've seen it time and time again.
Well, and especially LeBron, he's a completely different player in the playoffs compared to what he's doing in the off season.
Plus, we saw
early season.
Well, we also saw a bigger focus on defense, the mentality and hustle and energy you see and that you need on defense. You have that in the playoffs every single time. You don't have that in like tomorrow against Minnesota. You can't, as an athlete, as we see NBA athletes, they just don't stay mentally focused. The problem for the Lakers all season long is they've been bored and they've been unchallenged in their minds, and it's led to some very discouraging losses and performances that have been underwhelming, and we're kind of disappointed in that aspect. But again, when they want to turn it on and turn that switch on, the defense just can carry the team all the way to the top.
Well, while y'all probably feel like y'all are lagging a little bit, you're still 21-7. You're in number 2, so I mean, it's not massively underperforming.
That's not massively important. It's. But let me say this: that the loss against Detroit in Detroit, and then they came here and they almost beat us, and then those 3 overtime games against teams that really should not be competing against us at that level. Right. It's just a matter of focus, and sometimes you can see it. The Lakers just don't have it.
Well, luckily for y'all, Brooklyn doesn't have a whole lot of center depth right now, so I think y'all will probably win.
Well, if Andre Drummond goes on the market as expected, or if he goes on the buyout market, I mean, the top place he would go is Brooklyn. I'd rather see him on the Lakers, of course, but I do think that Brooklyn has a welcome mat waiting for him if that's the case.
And if that was your choice for another center on the team, while just kind of giving AD some rest and time to get healthy, is Drummond the number 1 pick that you would want to?
No, Miles Turner, I think, is probably everyone's out there's number 1 pick, because what he can bring as far as block shots, intimidation. He's leading the league in blocks. Plus, he can still give you some rebounding. And then also, of course, most importantly, he can stretch the floor, which will spread things out for an offense that sorely needs it. And the Lakers, who were once in the top 5 in three-point shooting, have seen their numbers dwindle over the past couple weeks, which is also a great concern of ours as well. Again, you're right. We shouldn't be complaining too much because they're 21-7, but as someone who tries to look at these things as objectively as he can, even though he's a Lakers fan, you have to poke holes in what the team needs to go ahead and fix in order to go ahead, because now you have, like you've seen, people are willing to go ahead, and teams out there are going to go ahead and try and trade or do what they can because they think that the NBA is wide open right now. So Brooklyn is doing everything they can to go ahead and make themselves a finals championship team right now. Same thing with Utah, same thing with the Clippers, same thing with Philadelphia, same thing with Milwaukee. There's so many teams that think they have a great shot at the finals right now. You got to go ahead and put out your best team as soon as possible.
Agreed. Well, I think we'll finish up for this week. Good luck on your games, and go ahead and shout out a couple places everybody can find you and follow you.
Well, thank you so much again. My name is Gerald Glassford. You can follow me at Lakers Fast Break on Twitter, or catch our episodes up to 5 episodes a week. Lakers Fast Break. It's one of the top Lakers podcasts that's out there. You can get it wherever you get your podcasts.
Well, thank you so much for being on, and we'll see you next week.
We'll see you next week. Thank you so much.
All right, guys, we're going to go ahead and move on to another team in the West, but they are struggling quite a bit. the Mavericks. They're at number 10 right now, and we're going to go ahead and bring on their rep, Steven.
Hey, Megan, how you doing?
I'm doing really well. How are you?
I can't complain. Even though we came off of a close loss, it was a good outing. You can't be mad at the effort and the intensity for that game. But overall, life's well. The Mavericks are improving, week by week. They're looking better. All of our key players have stepped up and are looking more efficient, which is something we sorely needed.
Agreed. Luka had an amazing night. He had 44 points, 9 assists, 7 boards. That's crazy. Porzingis.
Luka numbers, yes.
Right, Luka numbers. Porzingis, he performed well. I think he probably could have stepped it up in the points a little bit more. No assists. So, he's not exactly known for his assists, but you'd like to see a few in there.
Yeah, that would be ideal, and especially when you consider the trend of what those kind of European players do. They all dribble, pass, shoot. Dribbling and passing is really not an area of concern for Kristaps, but if they could run a couple, what you see like those elbow cuts and things like that, where someone could run around him, even Luka, where he could dump it over the top with his 7'3" frame, like that would open up their offense a lot. But he did only get 9 attempts too, so it's really making the best with what you got. You like to see him finishing with 18.9 shots, and he did shoot 56% from the floor. So overall, he did do well. The offense just wasn't running through him so much that game, which was kind of confusing to me.
Agreed. Next, you guys have the Pistons on Wednesday and then the Rockets on Friday. So Pistons, probably an easily winnable game. Rockets, I think that's going to be an interesting game. While I know they are below you in the standings, they still have been known to get their offense going. They are dealing with some injuries, but I think that, battle of the Texas teams, there's always, you never know which way it's going to go.
Yeah, those Texas Big Three, those games are always very fun and interesting. It seems like no matter who's better, the lesser team, if you want to call them that, typically will step up in those games and give them a run. And you can't really sleep on Detroit either. Although they haven't gotten a lot of wins, their wins are against really good teams. They've beaten teams like the Lakers, Philly. They've beaten some big teams. Dallas cannot go into that matchup expecting an easy victory, and they got to climb up the standings. Like you said, we're in the 10th seed. If the playoffs were to start today, we'd be in the play-in, but you'd like to be up a little bit higher. And then right after the Rockets, we have the Grizzlies, which is a team directly above us in the standings. So that's basically a must-win in my eyes.
And I will tell you this, the Grizzlies kicked the crap out of us. We had back-to-backs with them like a week and a half ago, and it was rough.
Yeah, Memphis is another one of those teams. The West, we say year in and year out, they're loaded. These has closed the gap a little bit, but top to bottom, the West is a stronger conference, although you would argue that the top of the East is getting up there as far as talent and ability to potentially make a finals run.
You guys are 13 and 15, so you're not far away from 500. Just go on a small win run, and you guys will be in 500, which makes a difference.
That's all we got to do. We just got to win, right? Like that's it. We just got to win more games, right?
two or three more games, getting on the winning side. Not like you need to go on a large win streak to get back into the field. Correct. But what do you think is missing?
Really, it's hard to put a hand on it. Again, the game that we just lost against the Trailblazers was a heck of a game. We were an open, clean Luka 3 from tying that game and going into overtime.
Right.
The defense is really kind of the weak point of this team, which is interesting because we traded away Seth Curry to bring in a Richardson, and we brought in James Johnson. We drafted defensively, so it's really interesting to see that defense is still our weakness, if there is one, and we're really just average. It's not like they're terrible, you know what I mean? They're just average. What
do you think you need to do for Friday's game?
Oh, okay. For Friday's game, we can't go to sleep on John Wall. We can't go to sleep on Cousins. Christian Wood has been battling injuries, and when he's been healthy this season, he's tremendous. He gives Jeremy Grant a run for his money for most improved player. Really, it comes down to Luka making good decisions. The offense, our team is going to live and die with Luka. And I've been kind of saying that he's the NBA's version of Brett Favre this season, where everyone says like, oh, he plays with so much joy and, he looks like he's having so much fun out there, but he also gets away with a lot. He gets a lot of whistles. And it was interesting to see how when we lost against Portland that we got so many calls that were beneficial to us closing that game. And you could argue that some of those we probably didn't even deserve, if we're being honest. But really, Luka has to keep getting other people involved, which he has been a lot more recently, which is why we've won about 6 of the last 9 games. So on a little bit of a run, momentum is picking up. He just can't get too into himself. And I think that that's where we'll see more, success, especially again, Kristaps Porzingis only had 9 attempts and a 3-point loss. You figure if we go to him a little bit more, that opens us up more.
Completely agree. Well, good luck on y'all's games this week. Go ahead and let everybody know where they can find you, where they can follow you, and we'll see you next week. All
right. Well, thank you so much, Meg. It's always a pleasure when our paths cross. I love being on the show. But people can find me on Twitter at StephenBTG. That BTG stands for Breaking the Game, which is the name of the basketball podcast that me and my buddy Austin co-host. You can find me on Instagram at Stephen W. Gillespie. That's Stephen with a PH, and Gillespie is Gillaspie. And you can find Breaking the Game anywhere podcasts are available. If you have the Dash Radio app, if you don't, go get it. But if you do, you can go to the Nothing But Net channel, which is the basketball channel on there. And every Monday and Friday, you can catch us on there at 6 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Pacific.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming on, and we'll see you next week.
Yes, ma'am. Y'all have a good day.
All right, guys, we're going to go ahead and move on to another 6 seed. They played an additional 6 seed yesterday. It is the Charlotte Hornets, and they played my team last night. Hey, Will.
Hi, Megan. I'm on a little bit of a lag, but I can hear you.
Oh, okay. Go ahead and run down last night's game.
Well, we lost to the Spurs, and we didn't have Gordon Hayward, who is our leading scorer. He was out with a back injury, so we missed him and his scoring, so that didn't help at all. We fought at the end, but we just couldn't piece it together.
You guys lost by 12 points. And like you said, if you had Gordon Hayward, I think that would have made a major difference. On his bad nights, on a slow night, he's scoring about 12 or 14 points. So that would have made a major difference last night is what I think.
I agree.
And so your next game coming up is going to be the Chicago Bulls, and that's on Wednesday. And then following that on Friday, you have to play the Denver Nuggets. Concerns?
I'm not really concerned. I know Jokic is playing at an all-time high right now with points, rebounds, assists. He's playing great. But Terry Rozier's been playing well. LaMelo Ball's been playing well. Malik Monk's been playing awesome off the bench. Cody Zeller's playing pretty darn good. I would like a better big man, but they all have been playing well. And if those pieces can click, I think we can beat Chicago and Denver.
Agreed. And then after that, though, your stretch gets a little tougher. Even though the Nuggets are higher ranking, I think your guys' next game after that against the Warriors on Saturday, I think that's going to be a tough game for you guys. I think the Warriors have something to prove. They're trying to stay in playoff contention. And then so I think they're going to play. I think it's going to be maybe an off game for you guys because for some reason I feel like you're going to beat the Nuggets. Why do you think? Are you concerned about the Warriors as well, or do you think that's y'all's game?
I'm concerned about the Warriors because Kelly Oubre is playing good this year.
He is.
Draymond Green, sure he's not getting the points he should be getting, but he's the defensive big and he's good at defense. Steph Curry is Steph Curry. He can make shot after shot after shot.
He's going to hang 30 on you guys, but don't feel bad. He's going to hang 30 on everybody.
He will. He will. But then, no, I don't think we'll win that game, unfortunately. I think they'll win at least by 15 or 10. I think that Curry's just going to go off.
I mean, he's known to get hot. He's in the MVP race. So I definitely agree. I think it's going to be a tough game for you guys. And then following that is the number 1 team in the NBA, and that's the Utah Jazz. That is going to be a tough game, but that's going to be a tough game for anyone. They're just not losing like that. Like, they've lost 5 games.
Oh, they're a great team. Donovan Mitchell's playing at an all-star caliber season. Right. Rudy Gobert is a multiple-time defensive player of the year. It's a tough game for anyone, like you said. Even teams with hot win streaks, if they play Utah, good luck. Utah is a scary team this year. And
For
I
sure.
wouldn't be surprised if they do make the playoffs, which they most likely will scare a lot of people. Even the Lakers, who are a good team this year, even the Clippers, even if they have Paul George and Kawhi.
Right.
Utah's nothing to mess with. Utah
Yeah,
is
even
a
if
scary team.
even if the Lakers were healthy or even if the Clippers were healthy, absolutely Utah is something to worry about. You guys went on a 2-2 run last week. So that's really good. You're at number 6. Your record is 13-15, so you're not too far away from 500. What do you think y'all need to improve to get up into the 500?
I would like a better big man, to be honest.
Oh, okay. Mm-hmm.
Because LaMelo Ball is playing great. Monk's playing great off the bench, like I said.
Right.
Carousel is playing great too.
He is awesome.
Graham's playing all right. The problem with Devontae is last year he was the go-to guy, and everyone said, hey, Kemba's gone. We expect you to score 20-plus points a night. He did, but that was a lot of pressure. This year, luckily, he has more help with LaMelo and Monk and Terry and Gordon, and it's everyone could share the ball, so not all the pressure's on him. But I would like a better big man. But I think we could still sneak into the playoffs, at least 7 through 10 seed. Mm-hmm. If we make the play-in game, I'm fine with that. I just want to see my team make the playoffs again.
Agreed. That's probably the only hope I have for my team as well. I know we're not going to win anything. We're not going to win the West Finals or even make it to the West Finals, to be honest. But if we make the playoffs, I feel like that's a major improvement over last year. It still feels like a win on the season for me. Go ahead and let everybody know where they can find you, Will, and we'll see you next week.
Sounds good. Thank you, Megan. As always, I love being on here. It gives me a fun thing to do when I'm not busy with work. It gets me using the part of my brain I like using. Go
ahead.
You guys can find me at WVOGS on Instagram. Mm-hmm. I do like Hornets recaps. I'm not a reporter or anything. I just take pictures and say what happens in the game. Like, unfortunately, or the Hornets won. Check me out on Instagram. Message me beforehand before you follow me because I am private account. Say you found me on the Sideline Source, and if you have any questions for me, saying, "What do you think about this? What do you think about that?" I'm willing to talk about NBA, NFL, or whatever. Like, I love talking sports, so feel free to hit my DMs up. I'm always willing to chat. I may not get to you right away, but I will definitely listen to your guys' opinions and questions. And yeah.
Well, thank you so much for being on. Thank you so much for being on. We really appreciate you coming on, sharing your thoughts. And we'll see you next week.
Thank you.
All right, guys, we're going to go ahead and move on to Phoenix. Their rep is Jordan. Hey, Jordan.
Hey, Megan.
How are you?
I'm good.
Doing good. You guys are in number 4. Your record is 17-9. So y'all are playing really well right now.
It's about time. I mean, we're on a 6-game winning streak. We actually finish up a 7-game homestand tomorrow. And actually, last night we put together our best game of the year against the Orlando Magic.
Yeah, I saw it was 109-90. Woo. That's a lot of points to put up.
We started on we started on a 14-2 run. And we were coming off of a pretty good game against who did we play? On a back-to-back, actually, against the 76ers, who, of course, you have Joel Embiid and Ben Simmons. So going against the Orlando Magic after those two, that tough game, it just seemed like after the 76ers game, this was not a must-win, but a game that we knew was winnable.
You guys, let me see. Your top scorer for last night was Devin Booker, which isn't surprising. Bridges was next with 21 points. Chris Paul had 12 points. So kind of a slow night offensively for him.
It really was. But once you have, 27 points from Burker and 21 points from Bridges, you don't really need Chris Paul. All he needs to do is pass the ball around to get those assists.
You guys play the Nets next tomorrow at 9, and then following that, you have the Pelicans, who are having a weird year. They don't have a ton of wins, but they're still kind of a scary presence, especially with Steven Adams and Zion. Are you concerned about that game?
I am, because we had played them earlier in the year, and we just looked terrible against them. But I mean, Zion Williamson can shoot the ball from anywhere, and of course, Steven Adams is down low, boxing out, and that is a concern, especially since we haven't done so well against big men. If you look against the Milwaukee Bucks, for instance, we won that game by 1, but we allowed Antetokounmpo to have 47 points. That can't happen in this game. You can't have Zion Williams to have like 20 to 30 points.
And he's averaging quite a bit this year. I don't want to say the wrong number, but I want to say it's like above 25 points.
He's played really, really well, and he's a young cat. He's just going to get better. So we do have to limit his opportunities.
And what do you feel like your game attack has to be for playing the Nets? They are possible contenders for sure in the East. So what do you think?
It is a big test, but we have to limit their outside shooting. Once they get hot from outside, it just seems like that's where the game's going to flow. But also their jump shooting, we just have to make sure they don't get into the key. Of course, we've struggled against teams that have shot the 3 ball pretty well.
Right. If there was an area that you could improve right now, off the top of your head immediately, like what's our biggest struggle area? What would you say that is?
It's really down in the key. I mean, we've given up too many points down in that area. We can't stop big men. The big men get the boards. Second chance opportunities have been really, really bad for us to actually allow the opponents to get them. So if we can limit those second chance opportunities and make sure that the big men don't get it, we'll be fine.
Agreed. Okay. And are you interested in the Drummond trade whatsoever? Do you think y'all should be pursuing that at all?
I don't think we really need him. I don't think he fits into our plans really. Yeah, we need a big man, but Drummond, I don't think he fixes our problem down low.
What about Blake Griffin? Reunite with Chris Paul, or you don't think that's a good vibe?
On paper would be great. I mean, you would have Lob City back again, but would the Suns really want to mix up the chemistry right now? I'm not sure right now to get Blake Griffin. Maybe in the next 2 or 3 weeks, if we start seeing, a losing streak here and there. But right now, as it's situated, I don't want a Blake Griffin. Although it'd be great to have him because, he's a great big man, and we have Lob City back. But I don't think right now we need Blake Griffin.
I'm not a huge fan of Blake Griffin. I didn't really like the attitude that he had the last couple years that he was there playing for the Clippers. I'm a big Chris Paul fan, though. I think he is, even though it's been said that he's a tough teammate. I think he's a great teammate. And his court knowledge is ridiculous. So I don't know if I would go back with the Blake Griffin vibe, but that would be interesting to go that way. I hadn't thought about that. Go ahead and shout out where everybody can find you.
You can find me at Sports Scoop 1 on Twitter. I also have a sports blog, which you can find at sports-scoop.com.
All right, Jordan, thank you so much for coming on. I really appreciate it, and we'll see you next week. All right, guys, we're going to go ahead and move on to the number 3 position in the West, and that is the LA Clippers. Hi, how are you?
I'm good, Megan. How you doing? Good afternoon.
I'm doing really well. Everyone, this is Coach Powell. He is the Clippers rep. You guys are coming off a win against Cleveland. What did you think of the game?
It was a pretty good game. I love that Lou is back. I know we alluded to it 2 weeks ago where we were like kind of like hot and cold about Lou. 30 points. It was almost like a back committee where you had Lou step up, Serge stepped up, and then also Marcus Morris, a season high of 23 points last night.
Right.
And especially without the presence of Kawhi Leonard or Paul George. So that was kind of a great to see that the depth that kind of come to fruition. So yeah, that was definitely encouraging, even though Cleveland is a loser of 9 out of the last 11 games, but a win is a win in this league.
I completely agree. They have the ability to get hot. Sexton is having a really great season. Even though they got kind of cold over the last few games, he's still known to get hot offensively. So, like you said, win's a win. You guys have up next the Heat, which probably a pretty easily winnable game for you guys. They're extremely injured as well, but Jimmy has had some heat as he's come back. So, what do you think you guys need to do to be able to shut down Jimmy?
Just contain him. I mean, you're not gonna essentially stop him as far as from his scoring, but just contain him and just don't let him solely beat you.
Agreed. And then you guys have back-to-backs with the Utah Jazz. So I think tonight is a must-win game. Like, if you got to have that type of energy when you go into playing the number 1 team in the NBA, they're not losing a whole lot of games. So I guarantee y'all lose one of those games, but I think one y'all might be able to catch a W on.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's the goal. Be able to say, hey, okay, I beat him at least once.
Right. Especially either you get the Wednesday or the Friday game. One or the other. Right.
Do you think Kawhi will be ready for those games? Will he be healthy?
You would think he would, considering the fact because it's a knee contusion, so it's not nothing structurally. It's in a. Even though I'm not a medical doctor, but you would suggest that it's no injury to the bone or what have you. It's more so a contusion. So it might do require some rest. I mean, he can come out. Maybe Friday. I don't see him probably playing Wednesday.
Right. Yeah. Okay. And so what they're saying about Paul George is that he's likely out for what, 3 months, 2-3 months?
Yeah, with the quote unquote right toe bone edema.
Well, I saw you do this. What are your opinions on it?
and I looked it up, and it's just more of a like he just has his toe is not enlarged, but more so it's just like a toe injury essentially.
To me, it kind of seemed like a bone spur. I mean, I could be wrong, but I've had a bone spur, and that is so painful. So I'm not really sure, like what I mean, because he hasn't spoken out a whole lot. But I know what they said. Basically, the only way to repair it is stay off of it. Like, so I mean, he can't do anything. So after you play Utah, do you know who y'all play next after that?
Brooklyn. That's on that's going to be actually ESPN primetime game on Sunday night.
Oh, that's exciting. A Sunday night game. Well, we're talking about Utah and how well their record is, but you guys have 20-8 and you're in number 3 right now. So you guys are playing really well, even though you're dealing with some injuries. If y'all could improve anywhere, what area would you like to pick?
I just wanted the continuity. And it's funny because this year, in a weird way, kind of remind me of last year where you had, this team is never all together. Like you look at Pat Bev was out, he comes back, and then now you're without Paul George and Kawhi, and then also Bev is out tonight with I guess for load management. So right. So I more so just the continuity because it's weird with this Clipper team. I think they think that they have an off and on switch, but you haven't got to that point. We're not our hallway mate, our Staples Center brethren Lakers, where we can kind of do that in a sense where they can do that because they've been in those type of trenches, but this team needs that continuity.
I'm seeing what I'm liking is I'm seeing some of these players that are filling in for the injured players that are really stepping up more. Serge had a great night last night.
Yeah.
He had 21 points, 6 assists, 9 boards. That's huge. You definitely need 9 boards out of him. And you're not going to get 21 points out of him every time. But I mean, if he could pick it up to 15 points a game, 14 points a game, I think that would be filling in that hole that y'all need for sure.
Yeah. He's definitely a sizable upgrade to Montrezl Harrell, which that was another one I kind of thought was going to be an issue. But then once we got Serge, I was like, okay, that's at least it'll fill the bill.
Agreed.
More for the name, but yeah.
And I like Harrell. I didn't really like how he moved around on you guys. I mean, I know it's their decision to manage their own career and all that. And I support that. But it was just kind of I don't know. It just kind of came out of nowhere. I thought he was just going to stay with you guys.
Yeah, and I didn't think. I figured if he was going to go somewhere, he was going to get paid like we all envisioned he was going to get paid. But
and then to go play the guys that y'all have to share an arena with.
right. And I'm like, and for that type of deal, I'm like, you could have came, you could have stayed. Like,
so it was like it definitely gave the air of like, were you mad when you left?
Right. Like, could have talked this out or something? Like, this sounded like knee-jerk. Right.
Well, good luck on your games over the next couple of weeks. We'll see you back next week. And go ahead and let everybody know where they can find you, where they can follow you.
All right. You can check out the podcast anywhere you get your podcast. Apple, Spotify, Couch Coach Live. Also on social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram on the Couch Coach Live. And once again, appreciate you, Maggie, for having me on tonight.
Thanks so much for coming on. We'll see you next week.
All right. Appreciate it.
All right, guys, we're going to go ahead and move on to another West team. That is the Houston Rockets. We welcome Jay Nelson.
Hey, what's going on? How you doing?
Hey, I'm doing really well, Jay. How are you?
Doing good. Trying to stay warm. We're a little snowed in here in Abilene.
Yeah, same here. The weather is crazy.
Absolutely.
Okay, so talk to me about your Rockets. Y'all played Saturday. Y'all played the Knicks, and it was kind of a rough game for you guys.
It was a pretty rough game. Just like I said on your previous show, we are missing Christian Wood badly.
Indeed.
It's shown. I'd be willing to bet that if we had Christian Wood healthy and out there, it wouldn't have been a 4-game losing streak. We would have won.
What the main thing that I've noticed over the last, like you said, 4 games, I haven't seen much out of Tucker. He feels like dead weight to me.
Tucker's kind of been a non-factor. He's actually out tonight. Him and Eric Gordon are out with injuries tonight. So it very well could be that he's playing injured, So it might have been Coach Silas getting in his ear like, yo, you're sitting tonight because an unhealthy you is not producing. So
right, I agree. I didn't know Eric Gordon was sitting out tonight. He was one of y'all's top scorers last night. He had 24 points on Saturday.
EG's out tonight. PJ's out tonight. So, yes, we are battling injuries. So, I'm curious to see what happens when we have a fully healthy roster.
So, you guys have the Wizards tomorrow at 6. That should be an interesting game for you guys. It's the first time John Wall's returned to Washington since the trade. What are your thoughts?
That's tonight. That's going on right now.
Okay.
As a matter of fact, it's at halftime. Washington's up 72-69. Wall actually had 22 and 7 in the first half.
Oh my goodness, that's crazy.
Yeah, he's been going off. The thing that's we're struggling with right now, we're only 5 of 20 from 3-point range. Now I don't expect like the small ball run and gun like we were doing, but it's just like I said, even at that time period when the threes aren't falling, go to big man ball, feed a guy in the paint.
Right. Yeah, I completely agree.
Or get the foul line.
And y'all still have Boogie. While it seems like he's on restricted minutes, he only got 22 minutes in the game against New York. He had 10 points, but he had 10 boards. So, I mean, he's definitely producing. And I guarantee, I'm not sure how many blocks he had, but I'm sure he had a few.
Yes, he actually has been restricted. Mind you, and mentioning this again, he's coming off of back-to-back, like, terrible
major injuries. Yeah.
Major injuries. So, they're going to – you got to think, even if you had one of those injuries, torn ACL or torn Achilles, like they're going to limit your minutes once you get back. Now he's coming back from both of them back to back. Right. So they're absolutely going to be like watching him. I mean, we'll see if his minutes increase down the stretch. Well, not really down the stretch. I say starting the second half of the season. But I think he should be good to go. He's been doing all right to me. Just kind of getting back into it. I don't expect him to be the walking 40 and 20 like he was back in Sacramento. But
yeah, I don't think you're going to get that from him. But I think probably at this point in his career, restricted minutes is just like how he's going to have to go out.
He is, you know, and just like I said, just lean on the young boys. Maybe we can get another shooter in the draft. Lean on Christian Wood and whatnot.
Agreed.
I mean, I know Boogie is in his prime, but those 2 injuries kind of set him back. So it may have pushed his time forward, if that makes any sense, you know?
Right.
But yes, absolutely. Lean on the youngsters. John Wall has actually been doing awesome since he's been with us. He's been our lead dog. I'm hoping not to get rid of Oladipo, but they're saying that he's one of the few that's on a trade block right now. And even if we do get rid of him, I'm curious to see what we get from some picks or maybe another young gunner or something.
Well, and there's still a little more than a month. I think like 5 weeks left until the trade deadline. So anything can happen in that amount of time. There's been a lot of rumors. There was one rumor that Oladipo and Bradley Beal were going to end up with the Knicks. That would be an interesting, but I don't know what y'all would receive back for him.
I would gun for draft picks. I mean, just like I said, I'm not expecting to like really make the playoffs this year or anything. But
not at all.
But if we do, it would be a huge win considering us having to start over and rebuild.
You guys are at number 13 and your record is 11-15. So, you know, you're 4 games back from being at 500. That's tough. But I think y'all have the ability to come back. I don't view y'all as a weak opponent for sure. It's just, I think the competition in the West is so competitive that, I mean, if you get on a little run of losing games, you're going to fall below 500.
You're going to definitely fall below 500, but it's always, you know, it's been that tight West, you know.
Right.
There's really no runaway. I mean, even in the playoff picture in the West, 3 games could separate seed 6 from seed number 1.
When do you think what is there a timetable on his injury?
I believe for Wood, they were monitoring him. I think his might be about a month because it was the ankle injury.
Okay.
You know, so they're definitely going to monitor him, especially him being young and whatnot.
Right.
So we just have to readjust and work around that. We do have a tough next 2. We're at Philly, and then we got Dallas.
Right.
And just like the Mavs said earlier, you know, the Texas teams always get up for each other.
For sure.
You know? So that would be a good game. I think if we can contain Luka, well, who am I kidding? Luka's going to get his. Luka's probably going to drop a 40-ounce on us. But, you know, if we can stop everybody else and then get going everywhere else, it should be a close victory. Philly.
I think it completely depends on if Embiid plays. They might rest him because he's just had such high, I mean, he's had so many points. He's had triple doubles. I think that they might rest him that game, but I mean, I could be wrong.
Yeah, I've even heard Embiid's name thrown in the MVP conversation, in which he's balling right now.
Honestly, he's at the top of my list. I put him, then LeBron. I don't really know where to go after that, but
probably Luka.
Joker maybe.
Yeah, Joker. I'd even throw Luka in there. Just like you said earlier, Dallas is only 11-13.
They're I think they're 10-13.
11-13.
Let me look. They're not as far back as
they aren't. They really aren't as far back. If they can go on a nice little streak and then Luka can keep doing what he's doing.
Oh, they're 13. They're 13-15. So I mean, they only have 2 games that they're behind.
Okay, then yeah, I knew they were 2 below 500. I just couldn't remember if it was 13 or 11. But Luka's gonna win MVP in the next 5 years. Between now and the next 5 years, he's gonna win MVP. It's just a matter of when. But I think if they can go on a nice little run and hit like the 4th seed or even the 3rd seed, he'd be most valuable player.
Agreed. Well, good luck on y'all's games. Have they started playing back yet on the Wizards game?
Let me check here. I had it on a Gamecast. So I can't wait to move back home to Houston so I can watch Rockets games consistently again.
Right. Well, I was just going to have you update the score if possible. If not, just go ahead and shout out where everybody can find you.
It's 89-80 in the third quarter. Washington's
okay.
up. But I'm on Twitter, Nelly13. That's NELLINEL13. I'm on there posting about the NBA Carousel and also post with Megan Price's Sip Off and everything. I'm also an aspiring screenwriter. I have a lot of projects in mind. So if you want to get in touch with me and you're curious, just hit me up.
Thank you so much, Jay. We'll see you next week.
All right. Salute. Have a good one.
Good night. All right, guys, we're going to go ahead and move on to another team that is struggling. And in fact, they have the same seed. It's the number 13 in the East. It's the Cleveland Cavaliers. And welcome, Kevin.
Hi.
Hey, Kevin.
Hi. Kem Cho. That's how we greet in India.
Very cool. Guys, we have an update on the AD injury. It has been mentioned on Adrian on ESPN. It's listed as a calf strain, and it will be evaluated in 2 to 3 weeks.
Oh, my God.
Go ahead and talk to me about your Cavaliers. You guys lost to the Clippers yesterday. Tough loss.
Yeah, a tough loss, but to see that we are coming off a losing streak. We have lost past 6-7 games.
Right.
The last time I came here, we were playing against Timberwolves. We won that game, but then it has been a series of blowouts.
Right.
There was just one game that was against the Suns where we lost by 113 and 119. Other were plus 15 losses. So yeah, there's been a great down form in the team, and yeah, we have seen where we can fall down, and we have seen a potential as well.
But there was some interesting news this morning. They said that Drummond is going to sit until he has a trade possibility.
Well, that's a big rumble in the market. To be honest, I did not expect Drummond to be coming out, but it's the team. It's how Beckerstaff wants to go. Jared Allen has been, mixing up with a lot of lineups, and he has been giving out good numbers, giving out double nights. So yes, Drummond going out might be an opening for Jared Allen, but then we need to see the assets as well, because as Drummond came from Detroit as a salary dump, and putting anywhere into the league, it's going to cost a lot of players, a lot of contracts, a lot of assets if we are just doing the math. So I really don't know how it's going to happen.
How do you feel about him sitting? Do you think that was his choice? And I mean, is he healthy?
He might be healthy, he might be not. It's upon the team. It's how they want to take it ahead from here. As of now, I feel Drummond just wants to just see where he heads to. It does not want to affect the game, probably. I really don't know how he is as a person, but that is what I feel that Drummond wants to see. He just want to see where can he fit and what can he get. There have been talks with Toronto Raptors, but I really don't know how they are going to set the math. That's Norman Powell coming out, or if you see just the contracts, they need to get at least 5 players from that particular team. So talking with the Raptors is a very big business. You can't have such a big roster and then having Drummond. So putting him anywhere into the league is it's tough. It's financially very tough.
You guys have Golden State tonight at 9, and then you're supposed to play the San Antonio Spurs on Wednesday. Obviously, our game was canceled, so I'm not really sure if that game's going to happen either. We'll see. Concerns about tonight?
It has to when you're playing against Curry.
Right.
Has to. It really has to.
I mean, but they're not exactly the finals caliber team that they were a couple of years ago. So, I mean, possibly a winnable game for you guys. Jared Allen, like you said, has been playing really well. Sexton is known to get hot offensively. And let me see.
Garland is a shaky form.
Right.
Uh, Osman is
Osmond,
coming off
right.
off the bench or starting the lineup. But any team right now which you face is going to be a challenge considering the form which we are having. So it's just one game at a time and getting most out of it. Wins are the necessity of the time, but right now we just need to have a good space. We just need to score the numbers. We just need to defend because we have seen points going out 120 plus, and
Right.
that's really concerning.
It is
So
concerning, yeah.
we have to see how we stand on defensive end, and yeah.
So, and if you guys actually do end up playing San Antonio on Wednesday, do you have any concerns about that? Do you think you guys catch the W?
I really fear DeMar DeRozan now. I really fear him.
He is playing really well. I mean, he
He's
does
playing
have
really well.
off games. Like last night, only had 8 points, but he had 9 assists. He had other areas where he was okay, just offensively, points wise, he didn't have a whole lot. But generally, like the last 3 games before that, he was averaging over 30 points or 30 points and 31 points. So I would agree that might be a big concern. Our young
It
core,
has actually flipped the whole picture. If you see last year, if you see Spurs, they were like,
right,
no, Rosen shouldn't be there. It's
right,
not good fit for the pop. And now you're suddenly seeing DeMar DeRozan playing. You see burst of DeJounte Murray in absence of LaMarcus Aldridge. So you know
right,
that young core is stepping up. Even for the Cavaliers, we are looking for a good mix of veterans and
right.
young talent. So it's just now working with the rotations without Drummond, exploring other things, exploring other players,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, that's just it.
What do you think is missing? Like, what area would you improve if you could improve one area just like immediately?
Immediately, I would really want someone to have more points if they are really
Right,
going to think to go for more offensive kind of output, because defense will take time. You don't have those many players who can just defend. If you take up Golden State Warriors, you just can't defend that fast running offense. So if you are trying to go out with full on offense, you need some really good scorers, which Cleveland Cavaliers need. The Sexton Garland partnership has some kind of shaky thing because Garland hasn't been performing.
right.
Sexton is a consistent form. So just thinking, if you really want to go for offense, get the max offensive players from the league. That's what I
Agreed.
want.
Agreed. I mean, I think that's what we all want is somebody that's going to come in and guarantee have a good offensive night. After that, you guys play the Thunder on Sunday, and that's kind of a weird team. So I think that's possibly a winnable game for you guys. SGA's hurt right now, so he's on my fantasy team, so I know that's hurting.
Yeah.
Do you think that's a winnable game for you guys, or do you think you guys might lose that game?
I really don't know because OKC came out in the playoffs like a surprise. The new coach is bringing out a lot of surprise.
Right.
It's a very mixed up lineup. You really never know what's going to come out from them. It's totally unpredictable. But yes, as I said, every game is a must for us.
Right.
So one game at
Agreed.
a time. So we need to take wins, and that is what is necessary. And one more point to mention is that Kevin Love has not come yet. I have
Agreed.
some concerns. I have some really deep concerns for Kevin Love that he should
Agreed.
come sooner or later. But the team needs him now. It's high time. The team needs him now.
Agreed. Absolutely agree. Well, thank you so much for coming on. Go ahead and let everybody know where they can find you. And we'll see you next week.
Yeah. So yes, you can find me on the Kev Pod on any podcasting platform you listen, or you can just follow me on Instagram, the Kev Pod. You'll find there. And yes, I am thinking to start writing a blog. So yes, you can soon see me writing some blogs with the podcast as well. So see you around. Okay, keep listening, keep coming here, and just enjoy the game. That's it.
Good luck
Go
on your
Cavaliers.
games. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks.
All right, guys, we're going to go ahead and actually move on to Kevin's opponent, Golden State rep Steve.
Hey, how you doing, Megan?
I'm doing really well, Steve. How are you?
I'm doing all right. Just finished coaching a game, and luckily we were able to win tonight. So I'm looking forward to.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Looking forward to as soon as I won't do it before, I promise. But as soon as I'm off of this, I definitely will be getting out of my suit because I do not like dressing up.
I enjoy that you're dressed nice though. There was actually I was watching First Take earlier this week, and Keyshawn was on there in his sweats, and I was like, "What is he doing?" So you look nice.
Well, thank you. It's a new coaches thing now with COVID and not having fans. Like
Right.
coaches have gone to like polos and like sweats, and it's great. But yeah, I do still try to at least look semi decent, at least for one of our games a week. So
Very cool. All right, well, let's talk about Golden State. You guys are in number 8. Your record is 14-13 right now, and Steph is having an MVP possible type season.
Well, I mean, he had a very disappointing game for him on Saturday where he only scored 27. You know,
Right.
what a scrub.
Right.
Though he was scoring over 40 a game for the 4 games before that.
Right.
Over 57% from the field, over 53% from 3. Obviously, he's always been a good foul shooter. He's shot 92% from the foul line. Basically, when he misses a foul shot, you think the world's coming to an end.
Right.
But yeah, 10 of 17 shooting, 27 points, 3 rebounds, 5 assists. For most people, that's a great game. For him, that's a down game. But they need to get a run going here. They're still win one, lose one, win one, lose one. They're right at 500. Well, now a game over 500. They're 14-13, but they basically have been 500 all year. You know, they're still in the 8th seed right now, but 7, 6, 5, and 4 are starting to get a little bit of separation from them. And the Grizzlies, Pelicans, Mavs, Kings are right on their tails here.
Right.
So in this upcoming schedule that they have, where they have Cleveland tonight, which obviously without Drummond absolutely has to be a win. And then playing the Magic, that has to be a win. Charlotte, that's a win. Knicks have to be a win. At Pacers next Wednesday is going to be a little bit tougher. Charlotte again at home. And then you have the Lakers, Portland, and Phoenix. So
Right.
definitely the end of that schedule is tough. So you really need to
Absolutely.
win. You really need to win these games against your Cavs, against your Magic, against your Charlottes. You got to get the ones that are not gimmies, but definitely your favorite. Yeah, you're absolutely favored to win.
Right.
Though they do have to get healthy. You know, Kevon Looney's going to be reevaluated on Wednesday, but he's still probably a week or so away. Wiseman's at least a week or so away.
Right.
If you watch that game Sunday night, Draymond went down right before halftime, and it looked really bad. But then luckily he was back, which is good because they can't afford any more injuries right now.
Completely agree.
You know, Kelly Oubre has started to shoot the ball a little bit better, but it's still not consistent. You know, Wiggins has still been, very good. But let's be honest, Steph Curry needs to play at an MVP type level. He's not going to win the MVP this year, don't get me wrong, but he needs to play at that type of level for them to be successful this year without question.
Yeah, you guys are at that number 8 spot. It's you just never know. You never know if the number 13 team is going to make a run and push you guys out. The West is so crazy like that.
Yeah, because that's the thing. Like right now, that would be the Pelicans, who still have Zion and Brandon Ingram, so they absolutely have the talent to win 3-4 games in a row if it happens for them. So yeah, you really just need to keep pace and win those games that are winnable. Try to steal, a game against a team that maybe you shouldn't beat. You hope that for some reason, both the Wizards and the Pistons this year have been really good against only the best teams, have been terrible against everybody else. So maybe, somebody helps you out like that. But right now, if it stays the same, an 8-1 matchup between the Jazz, that series would be so much fun. Bet the over on every single game. They're just going to jack up threes. It would be super entertaining.
Right. Yeah. That would
and
be
as a
awesome.
Warriors fan, though, you'd have to feel relatively good about that series because you'd avoid the Clippers and the Lakers.
Right.
And the Jazz haven't been there before. So, at least you give yourselves a fighting chance. But, obviously the Warriors aren't going to win. They're not a contender this year. Clay's injury and everything else. But they're at least going to be exciting as heck to watch. But as far as being a contender, that's at least next year with a healthy Clay, a healthy Steph, a healthy Andrew Wiggins, a healthy Draymond Green, and then a healthy James Wiseman, that's a pretty fun lineup. So.
And so do you feel, are you happy with the Wiseman pickup? Like, do you feel like that was the right choice to make?
100%. I know they were shopping the pick, or there was rumors of them shopping the pick before that.
Right.
To try to get someone to win now. And obviously with Clay's injury, it was not very smart. I know they don't want to waste a year of Steph's prime, and, you know, he's getting up there, you know, as well. And because he moves so well off the ball, because he's gets hit so much off the screens, all that stuff, you really do have to think he probably only has 3 to 4 really good years left.
Right.
So I know they want to maximize that, but James Wiseman is everything that they need. He's long, he's athletic, he's a rim protector. And when you have a legitimate rim protector, it does help the fact that Steph Curry is not the best defender in the world.
Right.
So you help that a little bit when you have a rim protector. And when you have a legitimate rebound, you know, threat like James Wiseman and Kevon Looney, you can't completely just guard the 3-point line, because they can hurt you inside a little bit as well. And Steph is a great passer. Draymond's a great passer. When Clay plays, he's a willing passer. Right. So, I mean, I love the James Wiseman pick. I thought it was a great pick. Awesome. I was very happy that they made that pick and didn't try to trade it for a Bradley Beal or somebody like that. I thought y'all
were going to pick up LaMarcus, actually. There was rumors that y'all were going to take our pick on LaMarcus.
It was, and it would have been a night, like, it would have helped him this year, obviously, to have Bradley Beal to go with Steph, with Clay out. But long term, James Wiseman, his ceiling is much higher. Agreed. I'm really, really glad they did that. And yeah, at least it gives them a fighting chance. And, you know, hopefully we'll find out some good news from Looney and Wiseman this week. And hopefully by next week, if they're not back, we at least have a date of when they will be back.
Okay. Sounds great. Well, congratulations on your win tonight. Go ahead and let everybody know where they can find you, and we'll see you back next week.
Absolutely. Yeah. The easiest way to find me is on Twitter. All eyes on, just the letter U, hoops, all eyes on you, hoops. Also SMan1720 is also my Twitter, but that's more me and my high school coaching and my kids. And then the All Eyes on You is more basketball stuff. And then I do have a podcast every Tuesday where I talk about the national games for the week on NBA. And we shoot those Tuesday night and get them posted Tuesday night or early Wednesday. So you can catch that. And there will be a link on my website as well. All Eyes on You hoops there as well. So yeah, hope you check all those things out.
Well, thank you so much, Steve. We'll see you next week.
Absolutely. Have a great day. Get those Spurs healthy. All right.
Oh, I know. Thank you. All right, guys, we're going to go ahead and move on to a team that had an interesting week last week. They picked up Derrick Rose. We have the New York Knicks rep coming on. Hey, guys, this is Chris Dinkins. He is your Knicks rep. How are you doing, sir?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. I can. Cool. So how do you feel about the D Rose pickup?
I like it. You know, I think that, you know, he's in a perfect position to be that veteran presence guy now. And he's settled into that role. Derrick Rose has always been that kind of laid back kid. He's not a rah guy. So I think that he has earned enough cachet to say, you know what, I'm going to teach these kids, and they're going to accept it and listen. You know?
And I think he's the right fit for y'all's coach. This is their third team that they've played on together, or been a duo together. You know, I think the only missing piece that you guys have right now is y'all need a high-powered shooter. There's been some rumors that y'all might pursue Bradley Beal. Thoughts on that?
I'm not really, you know, a big, you know, rumor guy.
Okay.
I deal basically in you know, live and direct, right and exact. So again, and let me get this out the way. Let me say this. Shout out to you, Megan. Salute.
Thank you.
The first half is really going to tell the story for me. I'm not jumping out the window with any wild predictions and anything of that nature. Bradley Beal is going to do what he does. Are we here to be respectable, or are we here to try to, you know, knock everybody out in the East? We got to crawl before we walk. And, you know, you agree with me?
Agreed.
Okay.
And you're actually the second Knicks fan that's told me that same thing. They're like, you know, I'm just going to wait until the second half of the season before I really form my opinion about this. So I completely understand. Yeah.
Yes.
You guys play the Hawks tonight.
I mean, we're doing Atlanta right now. We're doing what we do. And I wanted to speak to Mitchell Robinson being out with a broken hand. Now we're going to be tested a little bit, Megan.
Okay.
We don't have that presence now. Mitchell Robinson's out with a broken hand. Frank was died. He's dealing with the COVID thing now.
Right.
So we're going to be tested a little bit, So that's why I wanted to say, really just kind of relax and see what the first half brings you. And then the second half is going to really tell it all for everybody. But
Agreed.
I'm proud of
Absolutely
my team.
agree.
Nobody saw us being where we are right now. I wasn't a big fan of the Thibodeau thing because of how he runs people. But I think right now, everybody's settling into their spots, and I like it.
Agreed. I actually kind of picked y'all and said that y'all were going to have an interesting season. I didn't know if I put you guys in the top 3 in the East, but I definitely had y'all making the playoffs. So, that's a huge improvement for New York. Now, like you said, you got to crawl before you walk. Making the playoffs would be a huge thing for y'all's franchise. I think the direction you guys are going is the right way to go.
Absolutely.
The only thing missing is that high-powered shooter. You have Julius Randle, who's playing really well. He had 22 points against the Rockets and 9 rebounds. Derrick Rose had 16 points. Quickly had 22 points. So, y'all are moving in the right direction. Tonight you have the Hawks, and then on Wednesday you have the Orlando Magic, and then maybe the Spurs on Saturday, which I think will probably be healthy enough to play by Saturday.
When you talk about Derrick Rose, you started off with that. I think that again, he's an influence. Julius Randle, remember, he's coming off a real kind of rough week for him when he shot, I think, like 40%. You know what I mean? So he hasn't really been doing his thing, but it's all good. But when you talk about the upcoming schedule and where we are, again, Megan, it goes back to what I said in the beginning. This is going to be a test for us. If we win these games, we're where we're supposed to be. If we start turning in stinkers against Minnesota, San Antonio, Orlando, you know what I mean? Then we're like, okay, where are the Knicks at? What are we doing?
Right, agreed. San Antonio is the number 6 seed right now. So I feel like that would be a tough game for you guys. The West is a little more competitive. So our record is like 16-10. I think that would be a big win for you guys. Like if you could come in and say, hey, we beat the Spurs, which we're not going to the West Finals. We're kind of like you guys. We're not going to the West Finals, but we're playing well enough that we're making some noise. So I think that would be a big win for you guys. I definitely see y'all beating the Magic. The Hawks are having a tough time right now, so you guys are probably going to win that game. My prediction.
You see, tonight is the type of game we need to win, Megan.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely. So if there was one area
the Hawks are trying to find themselves too, and we need to take advantage of that.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. So if there was one area that you could fix, that you can improve immediately, what would it be?
Being a little bit more consistent on the consistency. We're getting better, but people want the Knicks to be great right now. The Knicks aren't great right now. We're good right now. You know what I mean?
Right.
And again, once we get that consistency and being consistent, if you get what I'm saying, Megan, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
you can count on the Knicks to come up with a good game. You can count on the Knicks to show up, is what I'm saying, Megan. And I'm a Knicks fan.
Absolutely.
So I think that if
I know
we can,
you are. Yeah, I know you are.
If we could, and you saying that us being top 3 in the East, I'm like, did you see my face when you said that? I was like, whoa.
No, I didn't. No, I didn't expect y'all to be in the top 3, but I did expect y'all to make the playoffs. So, and that's such a huge improvement for you guys, because I have said many times, and in most recent years, it was when Phil Jackson was there and the whole Porzingis mishap. I was a big critic of you guys. So for me to say like, hey, you guys are improving and y'all are moving into the playoff position, I feel like it's a pretty big compliment coming from me, because I was a little bit of a hater. Well, good luck on your games this week.
It is, but again, I don't want to put the cart before the horse.
Right. Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Agreed. Let us see what we got here in this first half. You know what I mean? And then in the second half, we're still hovering around that 5th and 6th and 7th area. Now we're playing for something, Megan. We're going to be tested.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, good luck on your games. Go ahead and let everybody know where they can find you, and we'll see you back next week.
Yo, first of all, let me shout out everybody for, letting me be a part of this. I really appreciate y'all feeling this. Listen, I'm all over the place, man. Wednesday nights, 8 to 10 p.m. After Further Review 2.0, aka the Sideline Pass. I know the title was mad long, but you know it is what it is. It's a call-in show. You check me out, speak your opinion. We talk about everything. All right. So come through Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays. No Knockoffs Radio. All right. I can't shout out my crew because it's a Christmas list long. Friday, Saturdays, and Sunday nights. No Knockoffs Radio. Check us out. What else? I'm on Twitter at RMDesk. I'm on Facebook. You already know the vibes. AFR, aka TSP. You know the vibes. Come check me out. Check out my girl Megan doing her thing. Check out my crew. NBA Carousel. Rock with us. If you don't rock with us, man, you must be living under a rock. Understand that. I'm out.
Absolutely. All right. Thank you so much. We'll see you next week.
All right.
All right, guys, we're going to go ahead and move on to the Knicks' opponent tonight. It is the Atlanta Hawks. We're going to go ahead and bring on Jelani. Hi, Jelani.
Hey, how are you doing, man?
I'm doing really well. How are you? Welcome to the Carousel.
Thank you. Glad to be here. I know this is my first week on.
No problem. Yeah. So go ahead and talk to me the game that y'all are playing right now. What's the score?
Yes, like I said, I just walked in the door. I saw it 79-74 right now. Unfortunately, I'm not near the TV to have it on, but of course, after I get off of here, I will be on there. I do know on the way home, I was reading some of the stats and notifications I got sent, and I know the Knicks had worked. They came off to a hot start, especially from three. I think they were like 7 for 10 from three. So I know that was killing us early. Right now, we're leading by 5. And hopefully they find a way to close it out because fourth quarters have been our downfall. I guess fourth quarter meltdowns don't stop with the Atlanta Falcons. They actually have shifted over to our basketball team in this city. So yeah, it's been a wild last few games and unfortunate endings to the last few games. But like I said, hopefully they're able to pull this one out on the road.
Awesome. So last week you guys also played my team. That was kind of a rough game for you guys.
Yeah.
Spurs won, I think, by 14 points, something along those lines.
Yeah, but it wasn't close after halftime. Like third quarter, you guys blitzed us. So yeah, it was
just kind of a rough game for you guys. I have a friend that is a huge Hawks fan, and we had a shot bet going on, and he went ahead and posted the video probably like halfway through the fourth quarter. He was like, look, I'm just gonna settle up now. You guys have let's see, who's your next game?
After tonight we play the Celtics, also I believe on the road. So yeah, Wednesday 7:30 the Celtics.
Okay, that'll be a tough game for you guys. But I think Boston is struggling as well. Like their chemistry is a little weird right now. They're injured. They're going through some issues. So, I mean, it's possible you guys could win. It's a must win for you guys.
Honestly,
if there was anything that you could improve like immediately at this moment, what would it be?
Not being injured. Honestly, I don't think we've had I know your team has dealt with a lot of those this year as well. But yeah, unfortunately, I don't think we've had a healthy roster since maybe the first tip-off of the year, first game of the year. DeAndre Hunter being out has tremendously hurt us. He hasn't played since the Wizards game, and even in that game, he only played like 12 minutes. I think he was reported to be sidelined maybe 4 to 6 weeks, and I think that was about 2 weeks ago. Yes, ever since we been without him, he was definitely emerging, honestly becoming probably our second, third best player, somewhere in that range, if depending on how you feel about John Collins. And since he's been gone, I think we won that Wizards game and the Raptors game, and everything else, like I said, it's been fourth quarter blunders or just blowouts. So that's the one thing I would change.
The first couple of weeks or first 3 weeks of the season, you guys were in the top 5, correct?
Yeah, somewhere
like 4th, 5th, around that area. And Trae Young was playing really well. So I know the injury bug hit you guys. It's hit a lot of teams this year. I think it's the 4-game schedule, the compact schedule that they're running right now. So you guys aren't the only ones.
Yeah, of course,
all you can do is play through it. Good luck on your games this week. Go ahead and shout out and let everybody know where they can find you. And
yes,
we'll have you back next week if you're able to make it.
Yeah, definitely look forward to being on here. Like I said, a lot more. Appreciate you for even having me on right now.
Of course.
Yeah, my name is Jelani Brown. I host a podcast called What the Game Means to Me. You can follow me right there on Twitter. It's WTGMTM Podcast. I actually do an Atlanta Hawks fly through with some guys that's in the same network as me. Shout out Off the Ball. I know Steven and Couch Coach are also in this little NBA carousel. So
right.
I do a Hawk show and actually doing it tomorrow around like 9:30 with the Hoopers. They're also Hawks fans as well. But yeah, you can find me on Facebook, Instagram at the same name, What the Game Means to Me. Podcast available on all platforms as well. And yeah, like I said, just look forward to being on here more. And thank you for having me tonight, Megan.
Thank you so much. We'll see you next week.
All right, have a good one.
All right, guys, we're going to go ahead and move on to the Milwaukee Bucks rep, Cool McCain. Hola, how are you?
Hola. Tough week for Milwaukee.
Indeed.
Really missing Drew Holiday.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah, it's hard to replace the points, the leadership. Like I said last week, he's probably the best. Well, if not the best overall defender of the team, definitely the best perimeter defender. Big body, able to switch and guard a lot of positions. So without having that, it's putting more of a strain on some of the other guys like Middleton, expecting Brook Lopez to step up. Giannis, I feel like, has been doing his part. Still, one of the things that's been hurting, as I've, been talking about, is some of those games that were tight last week, not being able to make the jump shots consistently. They're taking the lane away from him, just like just like teams do in the playoffs. So,
and Drew's out right now. Why?
So Drew is out under the health protocols. So that's all that's been released as to why he's out. So he's actually been out the last 4 games.
Trust, I understand. My game was canceled for that. So
yeah. So
I'm not really sure what happened. It just said that they said that they had some positive tests and then they had some exposure from contact trace. So hopefully we get healthy pretty quick. Hopefully he gets healthy and comes back. Who do you guys play next?
So next we have 2 games against Toronto, a back-to-back with Toronto on Tuesday and Thursday. Toronto is the team that we need to beat even without Drew Holiday to get where we want to go. At the end of the day, we're the 2nd seed right now. We're only half a game ahead of the Nets, who themselves are struggling with Durant being injured. Philadelphia, if we're being honest, I'm being honest with myself as a basketball fan, they're going to come down. So it's the battle. I do. The battle's going to be between the Nets and us to try to overtake them for that number 1 seed. I think they'll still be a top 3 team, but honestly, the Nets get healthy. I don't see them not, obviously making a run. Milwaukee is perfectly placed to make a run. We're still hanging in games, still managed to beat Denver, who's a really good team out west on Monday, even though we lost the other 3 games. One was, a couple of them were tight. Sunday kind of got away from them, so it happens. But it's been a very solid, I feel like, week for the team. Some other guys have stepped up, kind of did their thing. They weren't able to obviously do everything that Drew Holiday does, but we have other guys that can step up and at least take some of that pressure off. It helps. Giannis had 47 points one game. They still lost. I think that's a little bit too much for him, just because a lot of his points come in the paint. And sometimes he can make the short shots, or if he gets really hot, he's good from distance. But I think you need him passing, cutting, and doing some of the other things and being more versatile for the team to be at his best. So I do think that they played well. I saw the games. I do think that they played well. It's just, like I said, sometimes it gets away from you. If you're cold, you don't have your guard floor general leader out there, and sometimes it gets away from you. But other guys are just going to have to step up. You're going to have the next man up mentality, and he's not there now. You've had a few weeks of him not being. You've had a few games of him not being there, so it's time to step up and play. You want that number 1 seed. Right now, if we're in the playoffs, start today, we'd be playing the Knicks. I do feel confident that would be a good series for us.
That would be a good series, yeah.
Yeah, but I think it's something that we could win in 5-6 games. But I still think the Knicks would show that they're a lot better, as the rep for them were saying earlier, than what some people are thinking, and even what you said yourself, that he's probably better. They're probably a better team than what most people, including me, anticipated them being. I
don't see them getting. I mean, they might make the second round of the playoffs, but I don't think so, but I do see them going to the playoffs. Now, you mentioned your back-to-back against Toronto, who are the Tampa Bay Raptors this year. They kind of improved some over the last couple of games. They're at the number 8 position right now. They are under 500. There is rumors right now going around about the Drummond trade. So let's say the trade happened tonight or in the morning, right? He's still not going to be there for y'all series, though. Mm-hmm. He's not going to be available to play. Yeah, he's not going to be available to play. So, I catch y'all winning that series as well. One game, probably a blowout, honestly. And then the next game, I think, will probably be a closer game.
That's honestly exactly what I'm thinking. I'm thinking Tuesday we go after the 3 losses and just say, you know what, man, it's time to just whoop the floor with them.
That's what I think.
They're under 500 team, like you said, and we need to do it. And then we come back on Thursday. It's a national game on TNT. Everybody's watching. They're going to want to try to do better.
Right.
But I still think we should get them. Then we have Oklahoma City, who actually was the one that beat us on Sunday. Another pretty tight game. It did get away from us more so than the score. We both had our backups in, so that's kind of where you got the score being a little closer than the game really was. But that'll be a good game for us to get some revenge. Right. And then we have Sacramento, who, they're kind of.
They're an interesting team as well. My co-host on my other show picked them to be a sleeper team in the West, probably like the first couple of weeks of the season. And then, they hit that slump and then they kind of gelled back together over the last few weeks. I think it could be a weird game for you guys. Probably going to win, but you never know on that one.
Yeah, I'm actually really concerned about that game. Because like you said, they are, gelling together. But on top of that, we don't know how long Holiday is going to be out. And I think you get up only so many times, right? I think you get up against Toronto twice. We need to get up against Oklahoma City to pay them back for the loss on Sunday. Mm-hmm. Then you have Sacramento sliding in next Sunday. And it's like you've already had 3 probably pretty emotional games. If you don't have Holiday back by then, that could be concerning. Hopefully he'll be back by then. But if not, that could be concerning as far as, being able to get another sweep. But I'll take 3-1. 3-1 would definitely, that would be fine for me.
Right. And SGA is out right now for OKC, correct? So, y'all are going to win that game. I would see it. Yeah, I'd be more concerned about the Kings for sure. Well, good luck on your games this week. Go ahead and let everybody know where they can find you, and we'll have you back next week.
As you see, sportstalk.com. You can catch me there. You can catch me on Twitter. Instagram and Facebook, all Cool McCain at Cool McCain on Twitter and Instagram, Cool McCain on Facebook. Our show is Friday nights, 8:30 p.m. It's normally about an hour or so. We like to try to condense it so we're not, getting too big and taking up too much of people's Fridays. But still giving some good fun sports talk. We are very interactive with our chat. We try to answer questions. Sometimes we have, plan in place, but then depending on our viewers and what they want to see, it changes. So it's fun. I think everyone would like it if you are able to give it a chance. Check us out. Again, playcallersportstalk.com, Friday nights, 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Thank you so much for coming on. We'll see you back next week.
No problem. Go Bucks.
Go Bucks. All right, guys, we're going to go ahead and wrap it up for this week. You can find us on Sideline Sports Network YouTube channel, also on Facebook, Sideline Sports Group. Follow us, subscribe to us, and we'll see you again next Monday at 8 Eastern. Good night, guys.